year 2000 that in 2005, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints would be here on Lenox Avenue, you would have been able to knock me over with a feather.
It had been 15 years since Martin Luther King Jr. delivered his I Have a Dream speech, and 14 years since the Civil Rights Act banned discrimination in education, employment, and public spaces. But in the Mormon Church of 1978, blacks were still considered second-class members. Mormon doctrine taught that blacks were spiritually inferior. The color of their skin was believed to be a curse from God. Besides being denied the right of priesthood, blacks could neither serve on missions nor marry in temples, the holiest places of worship in Mormonism. According to Mormon belief, only in temples can couples be united for eternity. In 1978, then Prophet Spencer Kimball received what Mormons call a revelation, which they believe comes directly from God. It proclaimed that all worthy males without regard to race and color could become priests. Finally, the doors of the temple would open for blacks as well.
I think it came to a head not just because of the civil rights movement in the United States, but because worldwide Mormon missionaries were getting into areas where African blood was very hard to discern, especially Brazil, many other places, and it was really inhibiting the missionary work.
But today, less than 30 years later, the once all-white church is reaching out to Black America's most celebrated neighborhood, Harlem.
Harlem, in the American mind, it's assumed this disproportionate place in the public imagination, including Mormon imagination. Of course, Harlem's very changed what it used to be. And it's partly a myth of what they're doing. But in myth comes certain certitudes.
In 1997, Mormons from Harlem started to meet at Sylvia's, the famous soul food restaurant.
Once we moved to Sylvia's, I think we were lucky if we had 30 people, I guess.
What did you promise them? When I come back to the
Basically, what we had to do, the missionaries and myself, is go out and find new members.
A year later, Mormons in Harlem found their own place to worship in the neighborhood, a windowless storefront building.
When we first started, there was plenty of space. But even at that time, there was talk that they were going to buy this piece of land. And then, so at that time, the church was already planning on seeing growth, I guess enough growth, or planning on building a new facility.
It's 31,000 square feet. The chapel here seats 200 people. There'll be 15 teaching stations, gymnasium, underground parking. 2 congregations will be conducted in English and in Spanish here at this facility.
After 7 years squeezed into the 150-seat chapel, the more than 400 members of the Harlem congregation got a new place to worship.
I know that's probably a big radical shift, a seismic shift, if you will, for them to come into Harlem. You know, they're making a very political move, I guess. They need to recruit new members.
Located at the heart of Harlem, on Lenox Avenue, the new building has attracted curious bypassers. Some of them, like Gregory Smith, have become members of the church.
It gives you more love. They open their arms up to you. Hey, we're out talking to people about Jesus Christ today.
Some people in the neighborhood still look at Mormons with suspicion.
Why would they want us when they have hated us all these years?
Mormons have a strict lifestyle. Young members devote a large part of their free time to gospel teaching. Premarital sex is harshly condemned. Alcohol, tobacco, and even coffee are prohibited. But instead of prompting converts to drift away, the strictness of Mormonism may actually be its strongest appeal.
People seem to want, when they're going to religion or anything that's a life-changing force, they want a challenge. They want something that says, there is a demand. You've got to do something. There's a bar. You have to hop that bar. And those churches grow.
The Mormon Church is often cited as one of the world's fastest-growing religions. But in fact, numbers published in the church's website show that the number of baptisms has fallen from over 321,000 in 1996 to about 241,000 in 2004. In the same period of time, the number of full-time missionaries has remained practically the same. So how have the Mormons been able to recruit so many new members in Harlem in spite of the church's racist past?
African Americans have had a long history of forgiving white people for their oppression. They couldn't go on in life in this country unless they had forgiveness. In fact, one of the great teachings of Martin Luther King was that you need to forgive, and by your forgiveness, prick the white man's conscience that what he's doing is wrong.
Mormons have also provided services to the community, including the sponsoring of the first football team to come out of Harlem in 62 years, the Hellfighters.
The Church of Latter-day Saints has been very kind to this program. They even sent a couple of high school men, young boys, to play in the program. They've even sent one of their coaches.
The Mormon Church should offer an official apology to African Americans. And they should give a greater explanation of what they have done in their change of theology.
I don't think it would make a difference. I think people who don't like the church, don't like us, would still continue to find reasons not to like us.
I don't think the church does think that they owe an apology to black people. And it goes back to this revelatory theme. The way it's conceived now is that this was what they were told to do, and they did it.
With or without apology, African Americans are joining the Mormons in Harlem, a neighborhood known for its many churches.
American religion is competitive. So there's a new competitor on the block. Will it become a Walmart, or will it go out of business? We'll see.